How are you guys doing? This one's called Election Fraud and Voter Fraud Can't Be Denied in Any Context. And that means any context, even watches. But anyway, the mainstream media and the biggest things going will have you believing that election fraud don't even exist. Nah, don't even exist at all. You'd have to be crazy to even believe it does exist. Well, they're wrong. Those bunch, they're really in the tank, I tell you. Well, when it comes to election fraud has a whole history. It goes back just dripping rotten history. It goes back to a history of election fraud convictions. Just horrible. The places where election fraud is just dripping history. It goes back and still continues the same way. No change at all. So how could anybody say there's no election fraud? You know, these election fraud people that pull it, they know exactly what they're doing. They pick places where they can get away with it. They know where the phony courts are. They know where the courts are that won't let any evidence go forth of election fraud. You know, there's overwhelming proof of election fraud. The proof is right in the accomplishments on the outcome of the whole thing in elections and voting. There's an overwhelming people that are witnesses, an overwhelming list of people who are witnesses and video witnesses and video evidence and the whole thing. Tons of affidavits, sworn affidavits of witnesses. How can you deny all those people? That's where the insanity lies. It doesn't lie in saying there's no election fraud. Really. And the thing is, they pull a similar kind of election fraud all over the whole map. The places where they can get away with it, they pull the same thing. You can see the pattern. You start to study things. You see the same pattern, the same thing they do. Exactly the same thing pretty much. They use corrupt machines. The whole bit. All run by big media, big corporations. Anything that's big and globalist is right behind it. They're the ones pulling the strings and running the whole thing. So election fraud is a disease that's all pulled, the strings are pulled on this from the biggest global elites. You know, there's only enough global elites to fill one room, and they control the whole thing. All the scams you see going around, all the election fraud scams, all controlled by the global elites. And all the minions down on the payroll of the global elites. The global elites, you run, where are all these corrupt machines, these election machines? You trace right back up to the global elites. You know, another thing too, the higher technology gets, the more corrupt, the more election fraud and voter fraud there is. See, they want people to win, and they know they get the right people to win with their election fraud and voter fraud. The global elites want the people that have power for sale. So they'll make sure, through election fraud and voter fraud, who wins are the ones they want that has power for sale, because the global elites, they have endless money and endless resources. They buy the power. So what fool has the power for sale? They buy the power, and that fool that wins is their puppet. So that the global elites just want a puppet there that they control and has the power for sale. And the global elites are buying, because the global elites, they got all the money. They got all the money they want. They're making money steady. But they want the power. So whoever's got power for sale, the global elites are buying, right? So the mainstream media, they're owned by the global elites. So they'll tell you, oh, there's no election fraud, there's no voter fraud. If you think there is, you're crazy. See, that's all phony. It's all phony. And you look at all this big media, too. Anybody that has any intelligence don't even watch big media. I mean, what does big media do? You look at television media, all they're trying to do is force down your throat virus, lockdowns, virus, don't have a job, just stay at home, don't do anything, go bankrupt, eventually go homeless, don't go to school, don't learn anything. I mean, that's really their message. Just listen to whatever the government tells you, especially the government that's the government that's actually in the tank. So just listen to whatever government's in the tank with the global elites. And just be a failure. That's the message. Be a failure. If we tell you to go outside and wear a chicken costume, you do it. That's it. Whatever we tell you to do that doesn't make any sense, you just do it because we said so. We're the big media. We're the global elites. There's no election fraud. There's no voter fraud. So you just believe whatever we tell you. So don't think for yourself. Even if there's a stack of affidavits and witnesses that's piled right to the ceiling, you don't believe that. That's what their message is. But the real message is to wake up and believe reality. And election fraud and voter fraud can't be denied in any context. Now, how does this relate to watches? Well, it does. It does relate to watches, because you can relate anything to watches. Now, you look at some watch channels, they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, hundreds of thousands of views, thousands upon thousands. Well, they're bot subscribers, they're bot views, they're bot comments, they're bot likes. That's a form of voter fraud, really. And so these guys, they got all these bot things, so they're fake media. So they go on there and they'll say, oh yeah, this watch is so great. Well, that's a sponsor review, but an undisclosed sponsor review. So they'll say, oh yeah, you're smart to spend an extra $10,000 on a watch here. Oh yeah, really? You got to spend $10,000 extra to be able to tell time. Okay, yeah, it'll make you into a new person buying this watch. It doesn't. I'll tell you, you go and spend $10,000 for a watch, it doesn't make you into a new person. It just makes you into a new person that's got a $10,000 watch. It doesn't make you into a new person, right? And you buy an expensive watch, you're probably going to want to flip it because you're going to realize that you actually want liquid cash. So that's why some of these expensive watches get flipped so much, because people buy them and then they realize, oh, well, didn't really make me into a new person. All the chicks in town didn't start phoning me, so they start to just realize all that and then flip the watch. So everybody's flipping the watch. So anyway, and it goes down to freedom of speech too. Just like big media tell you all these things, but if you go in their comment section and say anything different, say, well, I don't agree with that, or I believe something else, you're banned, you're deleted, you're gone. And same with these phony watch channels. If you were to go on their channel and say, well, I don't believe this, I don't agree with you, I have a different idea, I don't even like the watch you're talking about, you're banned, you're deleted, you're gone. See, these guys are big ego, right? Like, you can say, whatever you say that doesn't feed their ego, you're banned, you're deleted, you're gone. And you go on these channels that are fake channels, with all the bot subscribers, bot views, bot comments, bot everything. You go on there and you look at the top comments. A lot of times, not all of them, but a lot of them. You look at the top comments. All these top comments are just kissing their you-know-whats. That's all you see. And those are bot comments. No normal channel, you go on a normal watch channel that doesn't have all these bot subscribers and bot views, look at the top comments. A lot of top comments are just talking about the watch. That's all you see. They might say, well, I like that watch, or I like this previous model, or I like the watch to be a little different this way. That's usually the kind of comments you see. You don't see comments saying, like, oh, I watched the video and I started to cry. Really? A watch video that makes you start to cry? That's a bot comment. It's got to be. Because how many people do you know, or yourself, do you start to cry when you watch a watch video? No, you don't. So there you go. they're bot comments. But the thing is, the crop of bot comments are there to get other people worked up. So there'll be people saying, oh, this guy started to cry, and then they say, well, I'll try to up that comment, and they'll say, oh, I started to cry too. Or they're kissing the channel operators, you know what, and they're trying to up it. So they'll say, oh, that channel operator, you should be right in Hollywood making documentaries and movies. You know, it's all fake. Now, if the guy's that good, he'd be already in Hollywood making all these movies, right? So think about that. Wouldn't be on YouTube. So what do you guys think? This channel, like I've always said, comment anything you want. Your comments are not deleted by me. And election fraud and voter fraud can't be denied in any context. So thank you for your time, you guys. We'll talk again soon.